I'm excited to share with you one of my absolute favorite books, Moby-Dick, by Herman Melville. This isn't just a story about a whale. It's a book packed with themes of obsession, fate, free will, nature, revenge, and the search for meaning in a chaotic world. What obsessions guide your life, and at what cost? Call me Ishmael. With these simple words begins a journey into the boundless ocean and the fathomless depths of human obsession. Herman Melville's Moby-Dick isn't merely a tale of a whale hunt. It's a profound exploration of humanity's relentless pursuit of meaning, vengeance, and understanding. When published in 1851, Moby-Dick puzzled readers. Critics dismissed it as eccentric, overly ambitious, and perplexingly philosophical. It was neither bestseller nor celebrated classic in Melville's lifetime. In fact, it was commercially disappointing. Yet Melville himself was undeterred, famously writing, "It is better to fail in originality than to succeed in imitation." He could not have known then that his novel would ultimately triumph, becoming revered as one of literature's greatest masterpieces. Born in 1819 in New York City, Melville experienced the sea first-hand aboard whaling ships. At 21, he embarked on a perilous voyage aboard the whaler Acushnet, sailing distant, dangerous waters. His experiences formed the vivid heart of Moby-Dick, a novel that transcends mere storytelling to grapple deeply with philosophy, spirituality, and existential struggle. Narrator Ishmael, restless and introspective, introduces himself as a man drawn to the sea to escape life's melancholy on land. His motivation is simple, yet profound. Whenever I find myself growing grim about the mouth, whenever it is a damp, drizzly November in my soul, then I account it high time to get to sea as soon as I can. For Ishmael, the sea symbolizes the infinite unknown, a space of profound introspection, freedom, and terrifying uncertainty. Throughout the voyage, he reflects on the nature of human existence, morality, and our relationship to the universe, making him a thoughtful companion to the reader's philosophical journey. In New Bedford, Ishmael meets Queequeg, a Polynesian harpooner whose tattooed body initially alarms him. However, their unlikely friendship becomes deeply symbolic, transcending racial and cultural divisions and suggesting Melville's belief in universal human brotherhood and shared humanity in the face of nature's vast indifference. Together, they board the Pequod, a Nantucket whaling vessel captained by the enigmatic Ahab, a character who embodies obsession personified. Scarred physically and spiritually from a previous encounter with the elusive albino sperm whale, Moby-Dick, Ahab is driven not merely by revenge, but by existential fury. His words resonate powerfully. "I'll chase him round Good Hope, and round the Horn, and round the Norway Maelstrom, and round perdition's flames before I give him up." His quest symbolizes humanity's struggle against an indifferent, unknowable universe. Melville suggests a profound peril in believing that we can conquer or fully comprehend the mysteries that surround us. Ahab's tragedy is precisely in his unwillingness to accept human limits, portraying the destructive power of obsession taken to its extremes. The novel goes far beyond narrative and storytelling. Melville dedicates chapters to cytology, the scientific study of whales, maritime history, mythology, religion, and philosophical contemplation. The whale itself, especially its whiteness, becomes deeply symbolic, suggesting ambiguity, existential dread, and the unknowable nature of reality. It was the whiteness of the whale that above all things appalled me. Whiteness represents the unknown and our fear of emptiness, a blank canvas upon which humanity projects deepest anxieties, fears, and desires. This philosophical introspection asks readers to confront their own understanding of reality, truth, and perception. Did you know? Melville drew inspiration partly from the real-life tragedy of the whaling ship Essex, sunk by a sperm whale in 1820. Survivor accounts deeply influenced Melville, infusing his novel with authenticity and emotional depth. The Pequod's diverse crew, men from various continents, religions, and cultures, symbolizes humanity's shared journey toward an uncertain fate. Yet all are bound, willingly or not, to Ahab's obsession. Melville carefully illustrates how charisma and authority can guide humanity collectively towards disaster, ignoring warnings like those of Starbuck, the cautious and moral first mate, who sees clearly the madness unfolding. Let Ahab beware of Ahab. Starbuck's warning tragically underscores the ignored voice of reason and compassion, offering readers a poignant lesson about collective responsibility and the courage required to confront destructive obsessions. An intriguing fact about Melville. Following Moby-Dick's commercial failure, he withdrew from public literary life, working as a customs inspector in New York. Forgotten by his contemporaries, he died in obscurity in 1891, never imagining his work would achieve monumental literary acclaim decades later. As the novel reaches its climax, the confrontation with Moby-Dick is nothing short of apocalyptic. Facing the great white whale, Ahab's rage culminates in one of literature's most memorable declarations. "From hell's heart I stab at thee. For hate's sake, I spit my last breath at thee." In his final defiant act, Ahab's obsession ultimately destroys himself, his crew, and the Pequod. Only Ishmael survives, floating adrift on a coffin-turned lifebuoy, a profound irony symbolizing death transformed into rebirth. Melville leaves us with questions that linger long after the story ends. Are we inherently doomed by our obsessions? Or might we find wisdom and redemption by recognizing and embracing our human limits? Ishmael's survival suggests a path of acceptance and humility, emphasizing harmony over conflict and understanding over conquest. Moby-Dick endures precisely because it wrestles deeply and courageously with universal themes: obsession, madness, existential dread, and the insatiable human desire for meaning in an indifferent and chaotic universe. Its philosophical richness, narrative complexity, and symbolic intensity provide endless avenues for contemplation and personal introspection. Consider Melville's haunting wisdom. It is not down on any map. True places never are. This encapsulates Melville's belief that the most significant journeys in life are internal, spiritual, and existential, rather than geographical. It encourages us to look inward and examine our deepest motivations and fears, to question not only what we pursue, but why we pursue it. Ultimately, Melville's masterpiece asks us all to consider our own obsessions and their consequences. What is the white whale in your life? What drives you relentlessly, perhaps dangerously, forward? And at what personal or moral cost? Is it the pursuit itself that gives meaning? Or could true wisdom lie in understanding the futility and danger of that pursuit? Ultimately, Moby-Dick is more than just a novel. It is an eternal meditation on the condition of being human. Ahab represents the part of us that demands answers from the universe, that refuses ambiguity, that would rather die fighting the unknown than accept its silence. Ishmael, on the other hand, survives not through strength or certainty, but through surrender, reflection, and the capacity to live with mystery. The coffin that saves him is no coincidence. It is Melville's final, powerful symbol. Out of death comes awareness. Out of obsession comes clarity, if we are willing to look back and learn. Ishmael tells the story not as a hero, but as a witness, And perhaps that is Melville's deepest message. Sometimes the most important role is not that of the conqueror, but the one who survives to tell the tale. Melville forces us to confront our need to impose meaning on the vast, chaotic sea of existence. The whale, majestic and terrifying, is neither good nor evil. It simply is, like the universe, like nature, like death. And so we are left with a question that reaches far beyond literature. What is your white whale? What are you chasing? And when the waves rise and the storm calls your name, will you follow Ahab into the depths, or will you let go and float, like Ishmael, upon the quiet truth that some things are not meant to be grasped? Moby-Dick teaches us that understanding may not always come from answers, but from the courage to keep asking the right questions and to live inside those questions with humility, awe, and a sense of wonder. Thank you for watching and for sailing into the soul of one of the greatest works ever written.